Hello, pandas and other trash enthusiasts. We've got some work to do. But real quick, before we get into that, we had a bunch of stuff to pick up. A friend of mine had set out a few things that he'd stashed for me, including a bag of gloves. He got these in an auction, and I guess they don't fit him. I'll definitely use these. It's glove week. Now, going out, dumpster diving, searching for treasures, and bringing home cool stuff is great fun, but it does leave a task waiting eventually to be dealt with, and that is the pile of junk that is stacking up at home. So, since these have gone fairly well in the past, there's not a ton of stuff, but I want to bring in a big, giant load of scrap, because it's kind of piling up, and it should be a good one. So, that's the plan. We're going to break down a bunch of this stuff, and try and keep it interesting and entertaining, but that's the mission. We got to get through this stuff. So, since I've got to do it anyway, figured I'd share it with you. So let's start things off with this one. An air conditioner, which has already had the shroud removed, which I'm informed has leaked all of its refrigerant out, so we don't need to worry about that. Leaves us with a motor and a compressor, or compressor motor, I think. I'll show you where this goes. Now they're filled with oil. I can't really speak to what'll work for you. I don't know what your situation is. Yeah, well, this is why we leave them draining there for a little while. Anyway. Add that one to the collection. And then I just drain all the oil into one of these used oil jugs. And for me, it's dead simple. There's a, you can take them to the dump, or most fire halls, fire stations in the city have free household hazardous waste drop-off. So used oil like this, but also old paint, old fluorescent tubes, and ballasts. All sorts of junk like that. So if you don't have access to one of those wherever you are, I certainly hope they add it soon, because not having it puts a lot of pressure on disposing of it in more creative ways. I'm just going to leave this to drain out there for a while. I guess I should finish what I was doing here. I left this for too long and it got rained on, so I had to decant the oil off of the water. Very low-tech system, but it seems to be working. Alright, so you can see there's a bit of a collection out there. I'm planning on doing that in pretty soon in a video, just going to be just doing compressor motors. It's one of those things, I want to know how much we can make if we do an entire day. Well, it's not going to take all day, but how much we can make out of a pile of compressors and how long they take. You know, one of those, yeah, look forward to it. If you're not into it, it's okay. There'll be lots of videos coming up. So now, the slightly less exciting part, this pile of wire. The kind of thing that normally you'd put on some music or watch some TV to. Thankfully, we have access to editing magic, so we can get through it in time-lapse mode. First, this pile of all the number 1, and then there's a pile over there that I'll have to clip, and that'll be the number 2 insulated. Let's get started. Alright, that's that then. Probably not bringing this in. Got a different bit of wire for a different video. This is nowhere near full. There's one little thing, something a little cathartic before we move on to the next step. Now, a few people were displeased last time I did that, saying I should have found someone else to give it to so that they could enjoy it. Just because I didn't like them didn't mean. Respectfully, I disagree. That is not food. That is poison. That is sugar-free, sweetened with sucralose or aspartame. Not to mention, it smelled like a vanilla mist body spray, like that girly version of Axe for teenagers. It's not food, and I'm not sorry. Alright, let's move on to something a little more straightforward. This pile right here, copper and brass. So I've got a few pieces that are obvious. These are just gonna, they're obvious. These pieces right here, though. This one's kind of funny. It's got very, very little brass in it. Actually, I think that's really like, that's cast aluminum. Now these pieces, those are brass, but they have a plastic sleeve inside, which is real weird. So I think there's only one good way to do this. I'm not even going to weigh them. There's very little there, but I would say that might not actually be worth it if you find one of those. Anyway, it's in the stash now. These will be number 2 copper. Which brings us to all of these teas. I'm curious to see how this turns out. Alright, can you see that? Yeah, you can see it alright. Alright, 800 grams. It's like a pound and a bit, right? What is it? Yeah, 1.8 pounds. So that's like $5. I'd say that was worth it. Probably actually worth grabbing a whole bunch of them and building up a bucket and then doing them all at once. Because this wasn't so bad. A couple bits of brass, too. Now I want to try a scrapping tool that rarely comes up. See if we can get some of this off. You know what? This doesn't matter. They're only going to give us number 2 for it anyway. Actually, those little pieces of pipe and the crimps and whatever are also number 2. I'm not sure why, but they always go in as number 2. Now another thing I'm going to use that the heat gun for is this stainless steel sink. I had it up for sale. Nobody bought it. It's scrap. I'm not mad about it. Well, that took a little longer than expected, but now we've got a cool bin for stainless. And I'll use the same method for this one. It's got a lot of foam. And that thing. Huh. Now I kind of want to go through the piles and have everything nicely organized so it's ready to load and go. Like this. Starting with the aluminum. I've got the cast, the dirty, and the various junky stuff. So I used to have like 4 bins going for aluminum at any given time, but these days I'm just keeping 2. I've got extrusion over there and then a bin for everything else because it's just I usually try and sell the big chunky pieces at the same time as the steel when I get them. It's just I've been careful about not letting them stack up. Got some Allen keys. This is going to take a second. Well, I'm a bit surprised to learn these are all aluminum, except for this piece. It's just boring steel because it is super magnetic. But that's why we're going through it all. Got a stick there. It's 304. They say very clearly 304. If not for that ball valve, I wouldn't even open this thing up. Nice brass bits. There's your problem right there. No wonder that leaks. Huh. Somebody was telling me these are often brass, but this one's clearly not because it's magnetic. I've got quite the collection of those going. Alright, that is a beautiful looking heap. I can't wait to get rid of it. So all we have to do is... Oh. That's okay. We can work with this. Because when I have a significant amount of specific materials, it makes sense to call around and see who's offering the best price. And this way, I can load up all of the steel and we can bring the items that get the best price at that yard with us on the steel run. Just have to write down which items we have the most of, because I'm not going to even waste the time on the phone about teensy tiny little things. But clearing out the bins from the garage and wanted to make sure I was bringing all my stuff to the right place. So if you don't mind me doing a couple price checks. I got a pile of copper rads, copper and aluminum radiators, clean. Maybe a couple £100. All right. Well, unfortunately or fortunately, the place I normally like to go to is a little soft on a lot of these prices. Some of them, yeah, it definitely makes the most sense to bring everything to my non-ferrous place, which is convenient in a way, but that's too bad. back. That was 465 pounds total. Plus minus a little bit because I found a treasure. I like it. It makes me happy. I'm probably going to turn it into one of those exercise maces that you've probably seen. I've seen people doing that, and it looks fun, so I want to make one. I figured, why not? It's not that hard, and I have access to the materials. So, now we got to load the rest of this stuff up and do the good one. Not too bad so far. Whew. But I really want to bring in some of the copper. The price isn't too good right now, but look, the bin's full. I really want to end the year completely debt-free, so we can have a look at the end and see how much I lost by not selling it at its absolute peak. It's a good looking heap, but let's see what they're paying. Not gonna film in there. It's just a mess with a bunch of scales. Be right back. And just like that, we've returned with a bundle of hundos. I'll put the receipts up on the screen here. Now it's a little misleading because I actually forgot to bring my ID the last time I was there. So there was a bunch. There was $90 from the last time, so you have to subtract that a bit. But feeling pretty good, all things considered. Not gonna brag about it. It was a great run. So one thing that stands out, that insulated #1 wire that came off of all of those light fixtures from last week, I thought maybe that would be about $10. It was actually $17, so that's pretty cool. And then we said we'd talk about, well, okay, I said I would compare how much more we would have gotten on the copper. At its peak, copper was sitting around $4.50 US, so a little more for us, and now we got $3.60 a pound, so that's $1 less. On 110 pounds, I would have gotten another $100 if I brought it in months ago. That would have made a difference. Yes, I didn't bring in all of my copper because I do want to watch how this goes, but I wanted a bit of cash for different things, and now I have that. Possibly even more importantly, though, I have space. I have my space back, kind of. You know when you like clean your room, it starts with moving things all over the place and it gets worse for a little while. This is worse for a little while, but there's a little more breathing room and I can kind of sort and organize and get things ready for winterizing, which is unfortunately coming up soon. I also need to do some oil changes in here. I just need the space. But also, if that new friend from the other day calls us up, I'm gonna need some space to put all of the stuff that we pick up from him. So, looking forward to that. And I didn't clear everything out. I've still got a pile of motors, a whole bunch of brass to clean, and then this, and then a bin full of mixed little bits and pieces, and quite a bit of wire that needs stripping. Yeah, there's a few things, but I'm planning on making a couple videos, so like and subscribe so you don't miss a single one. And even if you wouldn't, it helps the channel out, and I really appreciate it. So, look forward to hopefully our new friend calling us and filling up all this space again. Either way, thanks for keeping me company. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you had fun. I know I did. Can't wait to see you on the next one. Leave it better than you found it. Keep doing the thing.